a high-quality knowledge podcast for hitchhikers traveling the galaxy. This is Lab 42.
Sunlight, held together by water.
Ah, Galileo.
That is the quote from Galilei. It's so poetic, isn't it? It's just, it summons these immediate images of, rolling Tuscan hills, golden hour.
The little soft jazz, maybe?
Exactly. It's pure romance.
It is. It's a beautiful sentiment. Galileo certainly had a way with words, but if we're being totally honest, and if we put on our logistics hats for this deep dive, that quote is actually describing a bit of a nightmare scenario.
Way to kill the mood immediately. But I see where you're going with this. We're back with another deep dive, and today we're looking at a stack of research that, it completely upends how we think about that bottle on the dinner table.
It really does.
We aren't just talking about shipping boxes from A to B, are we?
No, absolutely not. If you think about what wine actually is, shipping it isn't just transport. It's a high-stakes mission of, teleportation.
Teleportation. I love that image.
It really is. Think about it. You're trying to move a specific time and place, the terroir, from a cellar in Bordeaux all the way to a high-rise in Seoul.
And the goal is to do that without losing a single
bite of data. That's the mission.
And when you say data, you're not talking about like inventory numbers.
No. The flavor, the aroma, the actual chemical structure. Our mission here is to explore how logistics acts as the guardian of the soul of wine.
I like that.
We aren't moving commodities. We're moving a unique data set of weather and soil and human effort, all converted into a chemical formula. And the entire world, physics, chemistry, even greed, is trying to destroy it.
It's a battle on multiple fronts. We've got the chemistry of heat damage, which is honestly terrifying.
It is.
This concept of environmental deception, and then a high-tech war against counterfeits using blockchain.
A full-on arms race.
But let's start with that first distinction you made, not moving commodities. Why does that matter so much?
It's everything. It's the paradox of this living cargo. If you're shipping, say, plastic chairs, right, you're dealing with a commodity. If the truck hits a pothole, the chair is fine.
Sure.
If the container gets hot, the pen still writes. And if one breaks, you just send another one. They're identical.
Right, they're fungible. A widget is a widget.
Precisely. But wine is an originality. Once it's in that bottle, it cannot be fixed. It can't be replicated. It enters what chemists call a metastable state.
Metastable? That sounds precarious.
It is. It means the liquid is stable for now, but it naturally wants to break down. It wants to become vinegar.
Oh.
So logistics is really just the resistance against that entropy.
So when we see the word terroir on a label, and that word gets thrown around a lot in marketing.
It's abused, yeah.
We're talking about something physical that needs to be protected from that breakdown.
Yes. Terroir isn't a vibe. It's a biological filter. Those vines, they recorded the UV index of a specific August in 2010. They recorded the minerals in the soil. All that data was converted into sugar, acid, tannins. It's a chemical recording of history.
And the job of logistics is zero data loss.
Exactly. You want the consumer to taste 2010, not the heat of a shipping container in 2024. But the threat is invisible, and it's constant.
Okay, let's talk about those threats. The biggest one seems to be heat. And I have to admit, this stressed me out because I have definitely left wine in the trunk of my car in the summer.
Oh, no. Please tell me you didn't serve it to anyone you like.
I plead the fifth. But, the bottle's sealed, glass is tough. How much damage can a little heat really do?
It is shockingly fragile. The data shows that just 30 minutes of direct sunlight on a loading dock can ruin a reputation that took centuries to build.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. There was a huge study we looked at from Providence in Boston. They monitored over 1 million data points from real shipments.
And the numbers were not good.
They were alarming. They found that 15% of global wine shipments are exposed to extreme heat. We're talking over 30 degrees Celsius, so 86 Fahrenheit.
15%. That's almost 1 in 6 bottles. That feels incredibly high.
It is. And it gets worse. For shipments heading to China, that figure jumps to 47%.
Nearly half.
Almost half the wine traveling that route hits the danger zone.
Okay, so let's say it hits 30 degrees. What's actually happening inside the glass?
Yeah?
Can't you just cool it back down?
I wish. This is where the chemistry gets scary. The ETS lab study found that wine exposed to 30 degrees Celsius for just 18 hours,
Okay.
the chemical structure changes. Permanently.
Permanently. There's no undo button.
No, it's what we call cooked wine. And this is arguably a bigger threat than cork taint or fakes, because if you open a cooked bottle, you probably just think, oh, this winery isn't very good.
You don't realize it was destroyed on a truck somewhere.
Yeah.
The brand takes the hit for a logistics failure.
Exactly. It's completely unfair.
So why is heat such a killer? You mentioned something called the Q10 law.
Right. It's a rule of thumb from Svante Arrhenius, a Nobel laureate. The Q10 law basically states that for every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, the speed of a chemical reaction roughly doubles.
Okay, so it's exponential.
It's exponential. So wine is supposed to age, right? That's a chemical reaction. But it's supposed to happen slowly in a cave at 13 degrees. Now imagine a standard dry container, just a metal box crossing the equator.
I'm picturing it.
Inside that box, it can hit 60 degrees Celsius. It's an oven.
So if we use the Q10 law, going from, say, 20 degrees to 60, that's 4 jumps.
Exactly. You're doubling, then doubling, then doubling again. You're hyper-accelerating the aging by a factor of 16 or more.
Wow.
But not in a good way. The liquid expands, it pushes the cork out a pushed cork, or you get seepage, where sticky wine leaks out.
And if you drank it, would it taste like a really old, well-aged wine?
No, it would taste like death. It tastes like stewed jam or spoiled plums. You've turned a masterpiece into sludge.
So if the oven is the enemy, the hero is the reefer. And for everyone listening, we're not talking about...
No, strictly professional here. Reefer is just industry shorthand for a refrigerated container.
Right.
But it's more than just an AC box. It's really a system of environmental deception.
Environmental deception. I like that. You're tricking the wine.
You have to. The goal is to maintain the golden zone between 12 and 14 degrees Celsius with 60 to 70% humidity. You have to make the wine believe it's still in a cool cave in France, even when it's on a ship in the Indian Ocean.
Okay, I get the temperature part.
Yeah.
Well, why humidity? Isn't the bottle sealed?
The glass is, but the cork isn't. A natural cork needs humidity on the outside to stay expanded and keep that seal tight. If it's cold but dry, the cork can shrink, let oxygen in, and ruin the wine.
That's incredible. It's a suspended animation chamber.
It is. It's expensive, about 3 times the cost of a normal container, but it's the only way. And temperature isn't the only enemy. We also have to talk about the shakes.
Right, vibration. This is the one that surprised me. I mean, it's liquid. It sloshes. Does shaking it really matter that much?
Oh, it matters immensely, and this is where the chemistry comes in again. Wine is a colloid solution.
Okay, unpack colloid for us.
It means you have these tiny particles of tannins and pigments and other compounds just hanging in suspension. They aren't dissolved, they're just floating in perfect balance.
Like a snow globe where the flakes are just hovering.
Perfect analogy. Now, when you add constant vibration kinetic energy from a truck engine, a ship's propeller, you're physically disrupting that suspension. You're breaking weak molecular bonds.
You're shaking the snow globe.
Violently. This leads to bottle shock or travel shock. The wine tastes flat, disjointed. The aromas are muted. It's a real thing.
So how do you stop a massive container ship from vibrating? That seems impossible.
You can't stop the ship, but you can choose your seat. High-end logistics will place the wine containers amidships, the absolute center of the vessel. It's the most stable point with the least G-force.
They give the wine the best seat in the house.
Literally. And on land, they use air suspension trucks to dampen the road vibration.
The effort is amazing. But there's another threat that isn't physics. It's human nature. We have to talk about fakes.
This is the dark side. It's a huge business. I mean, when one bottle costs as much as a car, you create a massive incentive for fraud.
I was reading about the empty bottle market. People are buying empty bottles.
For hundreds of dollars, they'll fish them out of dumpsters behind fancy restaurants. Because if you have the real bottle and the real label, you're 90% of the way there. You fill it with a cheap table wine, recork it, and sell it for $5 grand.
That is just so brazen.
And it works because of what we call the signal-to-noise ratio. As the supply chain gets longer, the trust resolution drops. Noise enters the system.
So you have no way of knowing if the liquid is what the label says it is.
Exactly. You're just trusting paper. So the industry is moving toward digital twins and blockchain.
We hear blockchain thrown around for everything. How is it actually useful here?
It actually solves a real problem. It's about matching the bottle with a bit of data. They're embedding NFC tags and encrypted QR codes into the glass. It creates a digital passport.
So I could scan a bottle and see its whole life story, even if it was cooked.
That's the idea. But the real game changer, this is the James Bond part, is the smart cork.
Okay, what's a smart cork?
It solves the refill problem. A fraudster can get a real bottle, but to refill it, they have to pull the cork, right?
Right.
The smart cork has a printed electronic circuit inside it that connects to the foil. It's a kill switch. The moment you pull the cork or cut that foil, the circuit physically breaks.
Oh, wow. So it's a digital tamper evidence seal.
Exactly. And because it's on the blockchain, the status of that bottle's digital ID instantly updates from sealed to opened.
So if you refill it and jam the cork back in...
It's too late. The digital identity is dead. If someone tries to scan it, their phone will flash a warning. This bottle has already been opened.
That completely removes the economic incentive. The hardware is useless because the software is bricked.
Precisely. It forces honesty into the market.
Okay, so we've got heat, vibration, fraud. But there's one last piece of the puzzle, and that's the warehouse. And usually, inventory is the enemy, right? Just in time.
Right. In fast fashion, inventory is evil. It's dead money on a shelf. But in fine wine, the warehouse is redefined. It's not a storage unit, it's an incubator.
Because the wine is still changing.
It is. This is where we get the difference between oxidative and reductive aging. Oxidative happens in the barrel with oxygen, but in the bottle, in a warehouse, it's reductive aging. No oxygen.
Okay.
And that forces the compounds to interact in new ways, creating what we call tertiary aromas.
Those are the complex smells like truffle, leather, wet leaves.
Exactly. Flavors that simply cannot exist in young wine. They only happen with time. So a properly stored bottle can go from $100 to $500 after 10 years. The warehouse becomes a profit center.
But waiting 10 years is expensive. All that cash tied up.
And that is where the bonded warehouse comes in. Think of it as a temporal airlock.
A temporal airlock. You are really leaning into the sci-fi today.
It fits. Wine taxes and duties are incredibly high, sometimes 50% or more. If you import $1 million of wine, you don't want to pay that $500,000 tax bill right away.
Right, that would crush your cash flow.
So a bonded warehouse lets you store the wine on home soil without it technically entering the country for tax purposes. It's a legal limbo. You don't pay the tax until it leaves the warehouse to be sold.
So you can let the wine age, increase in value, and improve your cash flow at the same time.
Exactly. The business model aligns with the biology of the wine.
It really changes how you look at a bottle. It's not just a drink, it's a survivor.
You know, it brings to mind Thomas Jefferson. We found this great anecdote. Late 18th century, he's the American minister to France, and he's obsessed with French wine.
But getting it home was a nightmare, I'm guessing.
Wooden ships, Atlantic storms, no refrigeration. He called the process painful. He complained in letters that half the bottles would arrive broken, and the other half would be vinegar from the heat.
He knew what it should taste like, but he couldn't get that experience across the ocean.
He couldn't transmit the data. And today, we can walk into a shop in New York and buy a 2010 Bordeaux that tastes exactly as the winemaker intended. It's modern alchemy. Logistics is the art of risk management. It's a battle to deliver condensed time to your glass.
Condensed time. That is a powerful image.
So here's my challenge for you, and for everyone listening. The next time you pour a glass of wine, really look at it.
Okay.
Realize you're not just looking at fermented grape juice. You're looking at the success of a massive, invisible technological system.
The reefer containers, the air suspension, the blockchain encryption.
All of it, all of them thought to keep that liquid alive.
So the question is, when you take that sip, will you taste the fruit? Or will you taste the struggle?
Well, hopefully, if the logistics team did their job right, you'll just taste the fruit. But knowing the struggle, I think it makes it taste a little sweeter.
I couldn't agree more. That is all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
That's all for today's episode of Lab 42. If you enjoyed this story of impossible engineering, leave us a review. Safe travels, hitchhikers. See you in the next galaxy.